So we'll get on to the next one, which is the one we've mentioned at the start. A point to prove.
I think this is the best episode.
Best? Wow. I mean, I don't even know what I'd pick as the best one, but this one is about Williams. We've got Spain again. More shots of Spain.
But I think the way they did it is really nice. They spoke about like the history of the team. They spoke also about like what's her name, leaving
Claire
the
Williams.
team, and then Jos Verstappen. They spoke a bit. Not Jos Verstappen.
Jos Capito.
Yeah, they spoke a bit about his history and rallying and what he's kind of bringing.
The
into
context
the
to
team.
him was nice.
That was very nice. I think up to that point, the episode was really interesting because you're seeing kind of how the team's changing, them bringing in Jensen Button. That wasn't mentioned, but you can see on stage with Jos Capito.
Firing the engineers as well.
Exactly.
That was interesting.
So doing all of that and him kind of like being, we have to take risks to score points because obviously we don't have a good performing car and we're going to lay it out and try. And I think up to that point it was incredibly interesting. And then there was the drama of George leaving and stuff that added kind of a bit into the team and the episode. And then,
they were building up the stakes for if George would leave, which they've done before, but I guess it needed to be
and then because it's the last season of him kind of leaving, and then you've got kind of the part where they I think George it was in Austria where they kind of left George out, like they pitted him early, tried a weird strategy. No, there's another race where he was overtaken by Sebastian at the end. And then his fight with Alonso at the end of the Austrian one. And I think they build it up, and then the last part is like Hungary, where George is like, if you want me to kind of compromise my race, it's okay for Nikki, and all of that. And I think the way they actually build up the episode is they don't actually use any kind of, it's not a rehash of stuff we've seen before. I think the episode is kind of brand new in that sense.
Yeah.
And they build up kind of like, from the team changing hands, the history, talking about kind of why Williams is a big deal. It's the second bit, like, most crowned in like.
I think it's third actually. I don't know why they said second.
They
must have been using a different.
After after Ferrari, so it's either second or third, but like big history. Talk about Frank Williams, and then they build up and then they score points. And I'd much rather if they mentioned that and then mentioned the kind of George getting a podium. Because he got a podium, like. But I think they portrayed like their struggle really well.
See, here's the thing. I feel like it was just a bit like, it was good. So I liked the build up at the start, the intro to Jos Capito, a bit of like, just a couple clips of his character because he seems a bit, I don't know. The Americans might like him because he's all bouncy and shouty and loud and stuff, but he came across as a bit annoying, to be honest, to me, in my opinion. Like, there was the one clip of George saying, oh yeah, he's upbeat, he's motivated, or whatever he said. German, yeah. That's such a British way of describing it. Yeah. The clip about him saying squeeze his balls. The thing about the rally driver, he's like, so I told him, like, you sat next to the driver, yeah, squeeze his balls. Do it. Did you feel him? Right, tell him no. And then he was like, yeah, no. And then he tried to describe afterwards like it was some psychological thing. You just got to distract them from what they're actually thinking. And it's like, mate, come on, man, don't...
No, but it's fun. It is interesting the way he's able to kind of manage the team and keep everyone motivated. I think they highlighted that as well.
I liked obviously they'd shown a lot of Claire before. So to show the switch was kind of... It was quite good to see. But I guess there's no... Up until, I'd say, so like most of the episode I'm spent thinking like, okay, right, well, here we are, Hungary, he's going to get points. This is very clearly all building up to Hungary. So it would have been nice to see Spa. I feel like Hungary was shown well and the race was shown well. But I think the bit that was like, the one bit I really like about this episode was George afterwards. I wish they interviewed him for like Drive to Survive and not just took the clips of him like just interviewing the general media. But he was like in tears going around the media pen because like normally the drivers are just stood there, they say something dead and then walk off. But like he's fully like in tears, red eyes to multiple people going on about like, oh, you know, I've seen the blood, sweat and tears that's gone into this and it's meant so much to me, and I've seen the team trying, and now we finally got points. Like,
the end if that was the end to the episode where they actually interviewed him, and that would have been, I think, capped it off really well.
Definitely, I really would have liked to see that, just because he was so emotional. Like it was all there for them to take it, and
Literally, if
Like,
they'd
it's-
done like that and then Spa, which you think like Hungary's the end, you know, the build up, but then they got a podium after that, and then George kind of speaking about, you know, scoring points what it meant to him and getting a podium with Williams.
Yeah.
I think that would have been perfect because, you know, like he spent 3 years at the team, struggling with the team, and then in one season he got points, he got a podium. He out qualified Lewis Hamilton in a Williams.
Yeah. Just
How? How? He's not. He got P2, not even a barely a podium.
He was so close to P1 as well. I think
Exactly.
he was like thousandths off it, and
Yeah.
it's just.
Imagine he could have won that race if not for a stroke of luck. That could have been like statistically his first win, and he would have counted as his first win.
Oh, okay, no, yeah, you meant
if
I was
he
thinking. I
out-qualified
thought you
Max.
meant if you meant the race went ahead. I was like, hold on, no, you meant if you got pole, yeah.
If you go.
Then he would have.
He was
yeah.
he was just off pole, like just off pole.
It's unfortunate, but yeah, it was. I don't know.
I think it's
It
a
was
very
alright,
good
to be
episode,
fair.
especially compared. Like I compare it towards the rest. It's
Oh,
very,
no,
very
yeah,
interesting.
other than the rest.
It's
it
the
was-
best
it was
one.
alright.
It's the best of these episodes.
I'd say so far. I'll say it's the best one we've covered so far. So we'll keep going and see. If we
I think
find a better
like
one.
compared to season 1, I think this season has been poor, to be honest.
I have no memory. Like I said, I
Season
watched
one,
series half
season
asleep.
1 was very interesting in the way they portrayed everything. Like obviously, Lewis was destroying everyone at the time, but it was still it was brand new, so it wasn't the case of rehashing stuff.
Yeah.
The format of everything was new, and so it was interesting in that sense.
I guess it is a bit of a PR thing. Like people have mentioned now, like Günther Steiner, blah blah blah. All of these like looking good on Drive to Survive or doing good interviews on Drive to Survive is now a way for teams to big up,
Market themselves.
market themselves essentially. So yeah, so rather than being all raw and emotional and all of this, which would have actually been good marketing because you get more fans out of that, they're just kind of it's almost becoming like business interviews again. So like the best clips are always the ones where they forget the microphones are there, and you get a clip of like Horner saying "shut up" to like Toto on the TV or something, rather than like him going into the interview afterwards and then being like, "Oh, you know, Toto's like he's here for the money. I'm here for the pure love of racing."
Yeah, Lord.
It's like we know what you're trying to do. Like every time he sees a microphone in front of his face, and now most of them are doing this, they're just kind of trying to manipulate the public perception of their teams, the other teams, blah blah blah. Anyway,
It's part of F1, isn't it? It's always been a part of F1 as well. So
yeah, I guess so. Right, episode 7, Growing Pains. This is like, I don't know how they picked these two drivers. Like they got Yuki, which is cool,
I think
and then they
Yuki's
got
a very good
Ocon,
choice.
and then they
Ocon
said
makes no sense.
Yuki versus Ocon. France and Hungary is the races they chose to cover.
See, this is where like you kind of stop and you think like whoever chose the episodes and kind of wrote the script for the episodes has no clue what he's talking about. Literally, like you have so much footage and so much happened, and you like compare Yuki to Ocon. They're not even in the same world, man. If you compare if you're comparing Yuki to another kind of a rookie driver and their struggles, I'd be like, yeah, fine, fair
Yeah,
enough.
like Yuki and Mick, they both crashed a lot, blah blah blah.
Exactly.
Like that might have even worked.
But Ocon, man, you like Will Buxton is like he's a junior driver. In what world is a guy who's been in F1 for like 3 years a junior driver?
Yeah, he was in Force India before. No, he was in Aston Martin before they were Racing Point while they were Force India. Like, that's a long time ago.
Just like I don't. Will Buxton actually annoyed me. Like in this
Bro,
episode.
Will Buxton actually annoys me so much. I'm gonna save the meme until the end, but Will Buxton just in general, because I've seen a lot of his tweets after Abu Dhabi, and like, he's a spawn of
Obviously,
F1. Like,
yeah,
he's-
exactly. He can't say anything against.
That's what I mean. So he tries to like, I don't know. He's annoying because he markets himself as like a neutral journalist, but he's very clearly under
Also,
F1's
like,
payroll, so
the
you
another-
can't say anything bad about them.
The second journalist that was speaking the whole time, like I've never seen her in my life.
The blonde one.
Yeah, I've never seen her in my life. They're like they didn't want Will Buxton to be everywhere. So they're like, let's just get someone new in, you know. Like, but they had like so many guys like who would have been way more interesting to come in.
Yeah, to be fair, they have a big array of Sky Sports people, F1 people.
Like I wouldn't want Ted, but what's his name? Karoon.
Oh no, I don't like Karun. I don't
No,
wanna
no,
see
see,
him
but
chat.
that would have
No,
been
I don't want to see
interesting.
him talking, bro. I don't want to see Karun chatting.
He would have added though like a different perspective to it.
Yeah. So anyone else.
That's what I'm
talking.
saying. Like
The
if they
problem
get
is-
anyone in, like if they got Nico Rosberg in,
Oh yeah.
that would have been
no, yeah,
so nice
yeah.
because Nico
Or
does not
Jensen
hold back.
himself, to be
Exactly.
honest.
Nico does not like the reason I like Nico is he doesn't hold back in the sense of what he thinks of the drivers.
Yeah.
Like when
yeah.
he knows Lewis is wrong, he just alright says it.
Yeah.
And that would have added like such an interest because he knows Lewis very well. And he kind of understands because he's like a world champion. He also understands kind of what Max is going through against Lewis and stuff. He could have filled the gap in for Max by
That's
talking
so
about.
Oh my, no, yeah, that's
Do
such
you
a
get
good
what I
idea.
mean? Like
yeah,
Nico
comparing-
could have filled
yeah,
that kind of
my.
gap since Max isn't there. Nico could have spoke on his behalf what a struggle he is fighting against Lewis and going for your first championship and all of that and a big dream. He could have literally filled in for Max.
We could have, we could have had a Nico Rosberg episode and just taken it back to like 2014 and compared it to now, or 16. But
16.
yeah, 16 would have been better coverage, but like, I don't know. I feel like the worst part probably is both of these two journalists were used again to just give context. So like, you've got Will Buxton explaining qualifying, and then the
What
other
is
one
double
explaining tyres, explaining double yellows. Like, why don't you just ask them about their opinions, or the general F1 opinions, or the general paddock's perspective on something? Because they can talk about what the fans think, what the paddock thinks, the general rumours they hear, or just their personal opinions if you really think they hold enough weight. But instead they're just stating the obvious, like.
They just need someone to fill in and explain stuff. With dramatic music in the background. The funny thing is that whenever they used an article, they always got Planet F1, which is like, when I'm looking for F1 news, it's like the last website I'm gonna ever check for F1 news. It's not like a great website, is it? And they use it all the time. I'm like, have they paid them? Like, did they like? I'll give you a tenner, yeah, but put my website up, yeah. I don't get that. Like, obviously they don't want to put Sky Sports up. I understand Sky Sports and stuff like that. But you've got like Autosport, and you've got like way more reputable like.
They could have just used the F1 website. They use the F1.
No,
Twitter a
F1
couple
website
times
doesn't
to
cover
be
like
fair.
rumors and stuff.
Yes.
But that's what I'm saying. Autosport, for instance, or something that's way more reputable. Not just don't go and use like. Who reads Planet F1, man? Like.
All these new Drive to Survive fans, man, they don't even check Planet F1 for the latest F1 news, bro. They're just not real
It's like,
fans.
you know that YouTube channel called, like, I don't remember, it's called Drive or something. Or Drive something.
Drive Tribe.
No. Basically, he posts like news every day, like rumors every day. How he finds rumors to post like pretty much every day, I don't know. But anyways,
Anyway, yeah. So Yuki and Ocon episode.
Ocon's a write-off.
completely
They
forgotten.
didn't cover his win at Hungary well enough. I don't think so.
Yeah, they barely mentioned it, to be honest. Again, there was no real hype. Here's so Yuki and Milton Keynes.
I think that
Funny
was
guy.
very, very nice.
I think interestingly, Yuki was definitely portrayed as like a child. Like whether that makes him likable or not in the eyes of the public. You know, he said like he had some good quotes to be fair in there when he said like, what was it? When I have workouts, especially in the morning, it ruins my whole day. That's funny. He hates training. He's yawning in the engineer meetings. Like,
and the funny one was like, I want a massage. Wait, I need to go poo. And then he goes for a poo, comes out, he's like, that was a good poo.
yeah, like he was.
Why did that make it in? Like, I don't get. Like, that was a
quality, top quality behind the scenes. But to be fair, it was nice. It was. I don't know. It added something, I guess.
But I do see like, in essence, like, was it what's his name?
Franz Tost,
Yeah, he was talking about like how he has the potential and everything, but he doesn't have the motivation to go and actually do the work. And you can see that he was kind of handed everything, and now he's struggling because he's kind of left on his own. But at the same time, like Will Buxton said one thing that I agree on, which is like, even the people who live in Milton Keynes don't want to live there. Like, no one wants to live there. So imagine a guy who moved from Japan there. He's like,
that's what I mean. Like, it would have been a lot more because we got a lot of Franz Tost's opinion on it, and then a little bit of Christian Horner as well. And I liked the idea that these two are like these big giants watching over him, trying to mentor him. It was like Star Wars, weirdly. It felt like, you know, these two are like Yoda watching over him.
I've never watched Star Wars.
Okay, alright. That's really weird. Anyway, but it was like, it would have been nice to get his opinion on that. Because we're just hearing that he's, this kid who's been given everything and he's grown up and he's a spoiled child and all of this. and he's walking, and then it cuts to him wandering around saying, "I need a poo," and he's yawning in meetings. Like, it would have been nice to hear what he actually has to say about his own work ethic, because as much as he may not like training, he still has to do it, and I'm sure he does it. Maybe he doesn't do it to the extent that he needs to, but like,
But I
there
think
just
that
wasn't enough
in
of that there
Italy
for
it
me.
showed. I think like the part in Milton Keynes, it showed that kind of he, like from his room and everything, that he wasn't kind of taking care of himself, and I think that's why they kind of moved him and all of that. But I think overall they kind of portrayed him as a child, and
Definitely.
I'm not sure if that's kind of fair. Like he's obviously still like, I don't know. I think it's like a
He's
19.
20 years. He's 20.
Is he?
He might have turned 21, but he was 20 at
So
the
it's
time.
still like he's still young. Obviously, he just moved on his own and stuff. So obviously, it's a big change, big culture shock as well.
Definitely.
But like I like the comment of him, like his radio messages on there, like he learned to speak English in the paddock with all the engineers and stuff. So obviously he's gonna be like very intense on the radio and stuff. I like that part.
That was a fair point. Yeah.
It did give context to kind of why he's always kind of swearing and stuff on the radio.
But again, that's just like a Will Buxton theory. Like, it makes sense, but it was just like a throwaway comment. So it would have been nice to hear Yuki's opinion on his English.
It's interesting how even like what's his name, Matteo Bonotto, when he's speaking to Carlos Sainz, like, "Good job, mate." It's like, why does everyone use like English slang? Like they all use it in the paddock. Even the like Italian guy speaking to Spanish guy, why are you calling him mate? Like I'm confused.
It's funny to hear. You can tell when it feels a little bit not forced, but like out of place.
Yeah, but I think it's because there are a lot of British people that start using that. But it's interesting.
The funniest portrayal has to be, so we mentioned there's not a lot of Alonso. So we get Ocon, and he's alongside his teammate, double world champion, Fernando Alonso, known to be one of the most talented drivers on the grid, highly regarded, incredible reputation, and just after he's introduced...
Lord of the Eyebrows.
Sure. And just after he gets this big introduction, he's shown dancing about like this in goal, trying to get Ocon to shoot against him. And then it cuts to him again saying, "Yeah, I think I'm in the peak of my life right now." Like, it was the funniest clip of... I found it, so I died, bro. I rewatched that like 3 times. Like, it's got like big world champion Fernando Alonso, experienced in the paddock, 40 years old. And he's just sat there, them two are like playing in the garage, playing football, like... And then it cuts to their team principal, the new team principal of Alpine, saying, "Yeah, we're not here to fool around." And these two are just like playing football in the garage, just like breaking tires or whatever it is, like just knocking stuff over.
We didn't speak about what's his name getting a tattoo from Monza.
Oh yeah, Zach Brown.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to say. But they didn't speak about. They spoke a little bit about Cyril getting.
Yeah.
But that was a bit like.
But then the guy.
That felt really weird. He was so evil.
He was asking who was evil.
The team principal of Alpine, like, he comes in, he sits down, snaps the thing, he's like, "Yeah, I'm the team principal of Alpine," and then they're like, "Yeah, last year it was Cyril, what happened?"
I didn't know he was the team principal.
Right, so he comes in, snaps it, and says, "I didn't know either, yeah, I haven't seen his
I thought
face
it was
before,
someone else, like, I didn't think it was...
No, he introduced himself. And
no,
he said
I
he's
mean
the
as
team-
in from, like, previous footage
Oh,
of, like,
right, yeah.
the team and stuff. I thought it was someone else, I didn't think it was him.
Oh, I knew Cyril was gone, but yeah, no, I had no idea who the team principal was either.
Like, you never see the guy, he's literally never there.
And then he came in and he was like, "Oh, okay, so Cyril's gone." And he's
But
like,
you can't
"Yeah, I'm not
really
allowed
see
to comment on it."
No,
Which
I
was
think
interesting, bro.
we should leave it in the past and move on
Focus
to
on the
stuff.
future, yeah, it was...
I do get that though. Like, you obviously don't want to speak about the guy you replaced.
I understand that, but the problem is, because it's Drive to Survive and because it's like a continuity thing, Cyril was shown so much. And Cyril's like there.
He's crying.
He's
was
crying.
complaining.
He's talking about how much he loves Daniel, talking
then
about
he
how
left.
much Red Bull are horrible, and then, you know, how much they need a new engine and all of this stuff, like the little back and forths. And then he disappears with no comment, like...
Yeah.
It's weird. It's just, I don't know, it's like as a drama series, it's not great character development. Anyway, we're actually so far into this episode, so